May I encourage you in something? Good, honest confession to God of your guilt and your sin. I know it may seem uncomfortable at first, but it really is the best thing in the world to, as I often say to people, vomit out all of the weight of sin that you have inside of you, and to just get somewhere alone with God and be real and tell him that you know that you've gone against him. You know that you've done wrong, and confess it. I want to show you from the Bible why that's so important. I think oftentimes people are struggling. They're not feeling a real joy in their soul. They don't have a peace. They're feeling oppressed. And sometimes that can be because we are not giving the guilt of our sin to God. Psalm chapter 32 says in verse 1, and by the way, this is written by King David. He said, "Blessed is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the one whose sin the Lord does not count against them, and in whose spirit there is no deceit." To be blessed means to have that deep down joy that doesn't depend on circumstances, but rather you know that you're right with the God of the universe. And when unconfessed sin is separating us from God, we can't have that joy. And that is why the person is blessed whose sin the Lord doesn't count against them. When you confess your sins to God and you ask that he forgive you because of what Jesus did, then God wipes that sin away. Jesus paid for the wrath of that sin. Jesus took the punishment for it, and we no longer have to. The psalmist went on to say, "When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. Day and night your hand was heavy on me. My strength was sapped as in the heat of summer." In other words, this unconfessed sin was actually making David physically ill. And that can happen to us when we refuse to go to God and get right with him. But then in verse 5, David says, "I acknowledged my sin to you, my iniquity, I didn't cover it up. I said, I'll confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the guilt of my sin." That's where we want to be, in a place where we go ahead, get real with God. He already knows what you've done, but in telling him and asking forgiveness through Jesus Christ, the burden will be lifted from you.